including not turning my mic on again. Welcome to Good Chats. Yes, as I was just saying, this is what we do every week at 8:15 p.m. Generally, I forget to turn the mic on for the first 2 minutes. And as I was saying too, I'm having a bit of trouble working out how to turn my chat on at the moment. I'm trying to do too many things at once, as usual. So let me go into the live control room where I have some chats going on, just when you think you've got everything prepared, right? And that's kind of what I do here. So, yeah, welcome aboard, everybody. I think I've got everything working now. I think I've got the mic working for a start. And I was also just saying too, it would be a better podcast if I turn the mic on to begin with as well. So welcome to all those who just listen in as well. Maybe like Come Hither with Heather, who's on her way home from work, or the people who replay the video as well. Welcome to the replayers as well. Particularly Max Hobby, if you're out there in the UK, haven't seen you around for a while. G'day JK, g'day Pete Donaldson, welcome aboard. Steve Klink, sorry it's not about beer tonight, mate. Luke's Fishing, Northern Territory. Daryl Phillips, welcome. Not a replayer tonight, you're here live with us. Thanks for coming on board from WA. And Kingsley as well, cheers to you, sir. Zamago, welcome aboard. ADHD, welcome aboard. Re-L, welcome aboard. Andy Munro, oh my god. No side lighting. Oh, hang on. That's okay, that's fine. I don't know what's going on with the lighting tonight. It's not up high enough. I think I need to revisit just generally what's happening with my lighting in general. I think I had it set at a certain way at a certain point, and it was working great, but it's not working so great now. It's a bit bright on one side and not on the other side. So, hey, live. I'm just going to try and fix that. Whoop. That's a little bit better. I do have to investigate just how I can fix the lighting though in such a small space. So this is kind of unique in that, I'm not using a green screen and I don't have one of those, mega glitzy YouTube studios with Harbour behind me and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit tougher to kind of get lighting right. That's my excuse anyway, to get lighting right in a small space. I've only got a couple of meters behind me there. So, yeah, welcome to week 101. What have you been up to? I did ask a question before, but I didn't have the sound on. And I see that Andy Munro, if you look at Andy Munro on YouTube, former Footy Grounds, he did a great video the other day in a really interesting style. So that was excellent to see. I've got two lists here. Last week someone mentioned the tram, the Old Glenelg tram, and what happened to it. And it turned out it went up to Bridgewater last year or the year before or whatever, to much fanfare, but I'm not really sure what's happened with it because the B&B which bought it isn't advertising it on their social media or on their website, so I'm not really sure what's happening there. A bit of Ayurvedic kind of yoga kind of retreat thing going on by the look of things. If you look at Mist Bed and Breakfast up at Bridgewater, there's no indication that anything's happening with the trams as yet. But at any rate, I went on down a bit of a rabbit hole and I was looking at where you can stay in trams. There's a few of those kind of accommodations over in Victoria. there's a few kind of railway accommodations still left around. There's one of them up in Peterborough, the off the rails accommodation up there, where you can stay in an old SAR carriage. We did that a couple of years ago. I should have made a video on that at the time I was there, and I may even have to use that as an excuse to go back to Peterborough and stay overnight in the old railway carriages and just revisit what the history was behind those. G'day, History Hunter Dan Under. Welcome aboard. What have you been up to, mate? Thanks for coming down. G'day to northern New South Wales. Yeah, right. I went to Goulburn over the long weekend. Did you? That's excellent. I'd love to be honest, I'd love to live a bit closer to New South Wales. There's so many railway lines out there to explore. And I'm going to have to look up where on earth Bundanoon is, even if that's how you pronounce it. Cobdogler got a new loco. Well, that's interesting, Darryl, and very timely. I'm going to talk about that now as well, because I was going to go and have a bit of a look at the Cobdogler railway, such as what remains between Cobdogler and Loveday up there on the weekend. And yeah, Andy, the trip over the weekend was it didn't happen. I woke up on Sunday morning, all prepared, ready to roll, to head out to Mildura and then out to Red Cliffs to catch the Red Cliffs Railway while it was running. So I kind of brought the trip forward anyway. 5.5 hour drive one way. Well, that's commitment, JK, and that's what we do here at Outdoors Type as well. We spend 7 hours in the car for 2 hours on site filming, and that's, yeah, I've done that plenty of times. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, you mentioned Mr. Bridgewater, and I wrote it down and I had a look, and yeah, there is that they still advertise, and they're on Airbnb as well, and they look nice, but there's no trams in any of the photos. So yeah, trying to work out what's going on with that one. But I woke up on Sunday morning, bright and early, 6 a.m, wheels rolling at 6:30. As soon as I hit the street outside my driveway, I can hear the roofing nail in my back left tyre. You know, that sort of tick, 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 tick noise. And I got out of the car down the end of the street and I had a look, couldn't see anything. Drove a little bit further, could still hear the tick tick noise, and by now I know that's a nail in my tyre. You left Friday, came back Sunday. Well, lucky you didn't get a bloody flat tyre on the first thing on Sunday morning. And it wasn't long, before I realised that, yes, I had a roofing nail in my tyre. Pried it out with a spoon, thinking to myself, don't go psh, psh. And you know what? It went psh. You want that sound again? Psh. That's the sound of my hopes and dreams for the weekend blowing out of a rear left tyre on a cloudy Sunday morning. And so I put a little bit more limp to the servo, put a little bit more air in it so I could limp back home and change a tyre. By the time I changed the tyre, it's probably about 7:30 in the morning, and by that point in time, and I probably dodged a bullet with this one, I rather large arthritis attack had set in. I won't talk about that too much, but yeah, by the end of the day I couldn't walk, so it's probably good that I didn't find myself out in the Western Mallee or the Wimmera region of Victoria with an arthritis attack coming on and no drugs to deal with it. Fortunately, I was at home, so I had the drugs to deal with it, taken care of, no problem. So that's basically was the story of my Sunday. So me being more patient than I usually am these days, I have rescheduled the trip for this Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, I'll be doing a another trip, bit like yours, Jeremy, heading out on the Friday and coming back on the Sunday. So that'll be interesting. Oh, you got one of those roofing nails too? Yeah. Or a flat tire. Yeah. You must have hit the curb hard. But these roofing nails, man, they're a real problem. I need to start a social media kind of movement or something that's like anti-roofing nails on the street or something, because I swear this is probably about the third or fourth time that I've had a flat tyre. This time, unfortunately, though, it was seriously a trip killer, because I'm not going to try and drive to Mildura on an 80km/h spare tyre. And there's absolutely nowhere to get your tyre changed on a Sunday of a long weekend. G'day, Dork Boy. Welcome aboard. I was wondering where you were, O'Malley, and there you are. Cheers to Cooper Stout long necks. And cheers to the Mallee being the last place I want to be with a flat tyre and not being able to walk. Dork Boy, thank you for coming on board. And no, I didn't work on rails. The best years were the 80s, with the rolling stock and lines still open. And you know what? I was born in 74, so as a young kid through the 80s, I spent a lot of time on Sydney trains, going from Western Sydney into the city. I spent a lot of time. That's just how you went to the city then. And I was thinking that too, Pete. I might actually give the people from Redcliffs a bit of a call and see whether or not I can still have a sticky beak inside on well, it's Friday now, so I have to give them a call tomorrow and find out what's happening. But you never know. I will probably get myself a puncture repair kit now, Luke, because I looked at a few of them obviously on the Sunday morning, but there's still not available to me until later on in the Sunday morning. So I kind of had to go, you know what, this trip just wasn't meant to happen. But it will happen, and I've had another week to do more research. I've added 2 more pages to the notes that I showed you last week. Oh my god. And found a fair few more images. And also, Andy Monroe went checking out some of the places. He sent me some photos from Coleraine. Is it Coleraine or Coleraine? Coleraine, like the cold November rain or something, or is it Coleraine? I don't know. Andy might be able to help me out if he's still around. But yeah, definitely should get a puncture kit, because driving on those spares is terrible. So yeah, talking about mist. Yeah, so that's that trip coming up on Friday. So stand by. Coleraine. Hopefully I got that right, Andy. So yeah, that was the other one I was a bit worried about. Garok and Narajua. Thank you for putting that in a voice message to my Facebook page as well. So I can also interact with everybody right through the week via Outdoors Type on the Facebook page. So always please feel free to send me ideas, shoot me messages. Daryl does from time to time, I know. And he sends them through on the Facebook page there. That's a good place to message me all the time. Or also just in the comment sections of the videos here as well. I do tend to stalk them now a fair bit. Now I have a fair bit more time on my hands. Thanks, Andy. Thumbs up. Now, as usual, we do a few other things. I don't just sit here and just ramble crap for half an hour. I do want to go through a Kalangadoo gallery. So I realised that I have a gallery of images from the National Railway Museum on Kalangadoo, and that is going to be one of the places I want to head to. I've reached out on Facebook to Peter, the guy who runs the Kalangadoo Museum. He's probably not a guy who's on Facebook a lot, so I'll probably give him a call tomorrow as well and just see if we can tee up a bit of a sticking beak into the rooms there. So I'll show you a bit of a gallery. I wanted to do the call out for guests as well, and I'll do it again before we end, hopefully, if I remember. I've got I've got a stream obviously set up for 30th of October, which is the 2-year stream. And I do have some familiarity with using Video Ninja and using web chat rooms to bring people's video into the stream here. And I'd really love to have a couple of guests on. So I'll be reaching out to people across the next couple of weeks. If you've got some time on Wednesday, the 30th of October, which is in 3 weeks' time, guys, let me know. Love to have you on board, and I think I can add heaps of people into the chat room. So we just need to work something out where we're all available a little bit earlier than the live stream on Wednesday night, just to get everything sorted in the chat room, and then we can go live with some guests. Hopefully the most guests I've ever had in 2 years. We'll see what happens. G'day Harvey, welcome aboard. Thanks for coming on board. I've heard a lot of things about the National Railway Museum, sometimes from the National Railway Museum themselves. There's lots of things, but do tell. Let's see what the goss is, Harvey. By the way, if you haven't piped up yet, there's good 15, 16 people, sometimes more in the chat room there. And I know that everybody hasn't piped up yet. Some people might have stumbled across this and gone, what the hell is this? This is just me live streaming on a Wednesday night like I do every Wednesday. Welcome aboard. And then I'll do the usual book of the week before we close out. Somewhere around half an hour, because I can just ramble on sometimes. So we'll go to the slideshow and we'll bring up some slides here, kindly provided by the National Railway Museum. Plane Train Guy's like, fine, I'll pipe up then. G'day, Plane Train Guy. Welcome aboard. And Lyra Roberts, welcome aboard too. Thank you for coming. I have noted, I think, your comments on some of my videos over the years. So I appreciate you lurking around here on the live chat, where I can generally learn more from all of you in the audience than I think that I put out here. So I just kind of put out things for a bit of entertainment and a bit of reflection on the kind of job or the kind of work that I do here on the Outdoors Type channel. So here we are. Here we are. I got Kalangadoo up on screen. 7:04. They got this training running. I need to know more, Harvick. We need to know more. You can see that now. I'm just checking my monitor. You can see the Kalangadoo station. Now, I don't have dates on all of these. The metadata with the images doesn't always come with the dates. So this is an awesome shot, obviously, of a bluebird. I don't have a date on it, but even in black and white, this shot is almost iconic with the way the light works on this one. It's not a shot you'll see very often, but this is down at the Kaidoo Railway Yard. I'll try and give you dates where I've got them. Now this, do I have that folder open? Yes, I do have this folder open. This is 1976. This shot, back when they were obviously a bit more hopeful of freight being around in Kalangadoo. It's really interesting to look at shots like these. That have the freight gantries and all of this other stuff we associate with modern freight movement. There's just nothing remaining of that stuff now. I must admit, I did learn once what the cross on the front of the train was, Harvey. And if Kane was here, or I'm sure some of the chat room crew will know what it means. I have seen it explained. I'd have to look it up to remember what it meant. So just look how well kept the Kaidoo station was. There's no trace of those goods buildings anymore. Again, look how well kept the old station building was. Be interesting to reflect on that. That was 921. Thanks, man. The interesting to reflect on the condition and how it is now. I love these group shots where the people of the area gather in such big crowds, right? Because, you know, when they're opening the railway station in town, that's what you went to, it's what you did, you know, because that's because you know you didn't have Facebook, or you couldn't, you know, waste time on the TikTok. Easter, no, it was an eclipse train. That train. Apparently, people needed to travel on a train to go see an eclipse back in 1976. Here's another really important-looking person speaking to a number of really well-dressed people down at Kalangadoo. A lot of lines must have had crosses then. Now, what an impressive photo this one is. There are so many people in this photo right now. It's hard to imagine if you go down to Kalangadoo now, and I went there earlier in the year for the Mount Gambier video, which is actually sparked a fair bit of interest, and I'm really interested in going back and learning more. Just how busy this place was at one point in time. There's similar photos of station openings at Narracourt, and probably a few other places in the southeast. It was big. It was a big deal back then. And so here we go. Here's all the people admiring the big locomotive at Kalangadoo. Be interesting again to try and meld this image in with an image of what it looks like currently. Here's another image of the same train. Somebody should probably move the pram away from the railway tracks. That's an interesting reflection, Andy. You'd be lucky to get that many people at a footy grand final there. Yeah, I think perhaps like yourself as well, tracing the culture and all of the I don't know, society around football and for me railways evokes a time when people were maybe more together. I don't know. Whoop, someone's got the drone out in 19... No, not really. Let's see if I can tell you what date this is. No, I can't tell you what date this is. This is an 830, 8300 class brake van, elevated view of Roop. But no, they definitely did not have a drone here at that point in time. More colour photos, which are really hard to come by, particularly get permission to use them. Look at all of this activity going on in this yard. Can you imagine? I bet you they probably had a lot more workers back in the forest these days. In some ways, it's still because of the forests, Ospine, that the Kalangadoo Railway Museum's still there, and Peter's still there curating all of that stuff. But this is a really busy place, and there's just nothing there. And the final image is one that I stumbled across through some other research, and this is of the coffee pot when it spent time down in the southeast and was based on the Mount Gambier railway lines. The good old days are no more, says Luke's Fishing NT. I don't know, man. I don't know. I reckon we're living in one of these days. People will look back and go, you know what? 2024, they were the good old days, mate. Back when we still had a bloke that posting black and white photos on YouTube on a live stream on a Wednesday night. Yeah, this is the old coffee pot, and it's been around South Australia, this one, and it's currently up at the Pitchy Ritchie Railway in a starring role. Went for a run on the weekend. It went for a run on the weekend. I didn't go for a run on the weekend. I wasn't running anywhere on the weekend. Yeah, interesting little train, that one. Right, we're going to go for book of the week next. Whoa, here we are again. Can't miss me with this t-shirt on, with this, flannelette on. It's time to update my flannelette, and I was going back through a lot of my videos and lives, and I realised that in some of them I've been wearing the same flannelette shirt for nearly 2 years, so it's time for a new one. Book of the week this week is Standard Gauge Railway Across Australia by William A. Bailey. Following on from the theme this last 3 weeks when I raided the railway bookshelf at the Elmira bookstore. This is a 1971 edition, built not that long after the railroad over the continent was a thing. I couldn't actually find any dates in this one, publishing dates or anything like that. I guess it was a pretty, they were pretty casual about that. I don't know, you can still see the Zigzag Press printed it, and you might like to comment to contact the Zigzag Press. Not sure if they're still around. That'd be pretty good if that's still around since 1971. And this book talks about the standard gauge Trans-Australian Railway all the way from the Blue Mountains and the like, right across the New South Wales country, across to the rivers. It does diverge from time to time to talk about some of the connecting lines that were so important to this Trans-Australian route. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look more into those symbols, because if you only had 4 symbols, diamond, cross, club, well, actually, they probably didn't have clubs on railways. We'll work it out. Someone will come up with it, or I will write it down, and I will come up with some kind of answer. Because I know I've learned the answer, but I've just forgotten the answer because I've learned so many things in the meantime. It has a great map, which somebody drew on a big drafting board. Who remembers drafting boards, right? I had a drafting board in the 90s. That was how you did drafting. Now, a special t-shirt. That's an interesting idea, JK. Let me work on something for that one. I'm thinking we should have a Discord server. Whoa, slow down now, cowboy. Geez, hang on. I'm a digital entrepreneur, but let's not go going all Gen Z. The NR story, book of the week, the NR story, that was just released, I think, at the NRM bookshelf, or it was refreshed or something, the NR story. Looks like a great book. Darryl, you've got a copy of Pictorial History of Port Augusta. Lots of interesting. Okay, I'm going to write that down to you, and see if I can find it. Or if you want, you can scan me some images, and we can have a look at some of those, because I'm always interested in talking about Port Augusta's railway history. It is such a complicated history. The railway runs all the way through, across Australia, to the end, with lots of black and white photos, and lots of text, which takes a bit of time to read these days. But again, like I said last week, these books, they were printed when they were printed. The record of history stays as it was printed then, and it will always stay that way. We talk about, 3 great engineering feats of more recent times in New South Wales, which improved standard gauge working, which were and like a lot of books, right, which, to be fair, is a bit of a fault of a lot of books, they start to suffer from a bit of mission creep, and so it's okay to talk about other lines which may have fed into one line, but and I think the recent book on gauges struggled with this a little bit, with having to always sort of diverge and say, wait, before I talk about this, I have to get in to talk about this. So it is really, really easy to get carried away with that. I get carried away with it every 2 minutes here on the live stream, but live streaming is a little bit different to a book, I guess. So, hey Harvey, yeah, I was driving the Bluebird Kestrel, and the Mount Gambier Historical Society still has some copies of the pictorial history of Port Augusta. How about that? Mount Gambier. Sometimes I can even get it from the library. So I will look that up. I've written it down, and I can bring it out. If I can get it from a library, we'll have a look. The York Perpetual line. Is the York Perpetual line in South Australia? I'd be interested in that, because what I'm doing now is I'm kind of getting to the end of South Australian railway lines. That's a good tip for authors. Where did you learn that? I don't talk about my qualifications much because they're always there in the background. But I spent 4 years studying advanced diploma of professional writing, so sentence structure right through to story structure. From whether it be technical writing, creative writing, non-fiction writing, creative non-fiction, journalism, all of the different styles. I have a huge background in. I spent a lot of time writing for other websites. I have a fair old pedigree in writing. And so there's a lot of advice I would give to people. But you know what? When you're a creative and you're doing a project, and this is what I appreciate about people who write these books, is you have your project and everybody's got an opinion on it. So where do you draw the line with that? The videos that I do are kind of my way of still practicing what I learnt also in my 3 years full-time of studying a Bachelor of Media, and I'm studied digital storytelling, I've studied digital marketing, I've done 3D animated storytelling. I've looked at storytelling in so many ways, and that's why I'm kind of experimenting and just kind of poking, prodding, bending the rules a little bit sometimes to do what I do, which is why I chose to do this live stream as well, because the one thing I did learn was that I needed something that was relatable, was live, had a value that it was on at a certain time for a certain length of time, which added a different layer to what I'm doing with the videos, which are timeless, right? So it's just that added layer, and that's why I'm having so much fun experimenting with all of this and doing what I'm doing. Railpage is gone, man. They were such a good research. The whole kit and caboodle is gone, and it's very sad that they couldn't find a way to archive it, at least beforehand. In years to come, it may come up on archives like Johnny's pages and all that kind of stuff. But don't forget, even archives of old pages are still a bit copyright. Copyright expires is 70 years after the death of the author. Now, the York Peninsula Railway. No, I did do the. Oh right, you got autocorrect correcting it to perpetual. So York Peninsula lines, I did do those, but I think I do need to go back and revisit in a bit more detail as I learn more about these locations. Probably going to have to. I started to mention earlier that I've effectively run out of full South Australian railway lines. Like, one thing I am going to go back and have a look at is the old broad gauge line from Meriton through to Port Pirie, which was closed when the standard gauge line was junction was moved to Crystal Brook. But that's about the only bit of sort of heavy railway, aside from Mount Gambier to Haywood, which I'm going to get done this weekend, is about the only bit that I have left to do. So everything else from here is kind of going to be revisits until next year, when I can get out past Hawker and get out to Murray and hopefully up to Unadilla and Alice Springs. And as I'll keep saying to you every week for the next probably year until you get sick of me hearing it, that's definitely on the cards for middle of next year. So, the Kestrel used to run on the Borough line, and I got the privilege of driving that. So, guys and gals, if you follow the National Railway Museum, you'll be notified, or you've probably all got your networks as well, because the driver experiences book out like crazy. I'm hoping to get into the National Railway Museum at some point and have a look at anything they've got in their image collection on Neurom and Wandera. Sadly, they still make me go in there and have a look through the images. I really would like somebody just to type Neurom and Wandera into the search bar and just put the images on a USB and send them to me, and I'll pay them for the time. Save me going down there, but at any rate, I still have to go down there. Which is not a bad thing. I mean, hey, have an excuse to visit the National Railway Museum and having a chat to the guys down there. One of them reached out the other day, a guy named Clive, which was very interesting, and I thanked him for that. But I really would like to help promote the National Railway Museum and their images. And hey, on that too, as a web designer, I was super pleased to see that they have finally brought the National Railway Museum's webpage into the 21st century. They have done a fantastic job in upgrading it, because it was just so far behind. But for volunteers, look, that's what they do, right? And there was probably a fair bit of politicking and stuffing around involved in the background. But the website that they've got now looks excellent, and is finally something that, you know, I would point out and go, hey, check out this website. They kind of know a bit about what they're doing. So go and support the National Railway Museum in any way you can. Go and have a look after the live stream. Sign up. Buy a membership. Just go crazy. Buy a t-shirt. Buy a sticker. On that note, I will get more stickers out some stage in the next couple of months. I'm going to upgrade my sticker game to proper car stickers. So keep an eye out for that as well. Maybe I'll be working out how I can release them or do something like that in a few weeks' time, as we go towards 2 years of good chats. I know that if you look back through the lives, I only go back to 52 weeks of good chats. That's because I've been doing it for a year, and I had this thing in my head that I would delete the recordings of the live streams, but we've definitely been doing it for 2 years. The thumbnail that I used for this one was just a bit less than 2 years ago from a similar live stream. So that's it, folks. Again, I've gone 10 minutes over my time, but that's probably because the mic wasn't on for the first couple of minutes. So as long as you can all forgive me for that, and you're still here, I really appreciate everyone sticking around with me through all of this time, and I look forward to hopefully having some of you on board as guests. You can work it out from a mobile. It's pretty easy to do, and I'm looking at you, JK. I'd love to get you guys on board. Thanks for the good luck with the car. I'm going to need it, because I've just had to go and put $900 worth of freaking new tyres on it. So it better be bloody good. I haven't even had a chance to drive above 50 on those brand new tyres yet, because I'm stuck in suburban hell. But as of Friday morning, I'm free, baby, and we'll be out there. Maybe I'll catch you on the weekend, Andy. So I'm just catching up on the chat. This is usually the 5-minute warning. Dog Boy, we should have a bit more of a memorial for Railpage. I'm going to write that down too. See if I can find some old Railpage stuff. Because that was, again, from a web designer's and digital guy's point of view, amazing resource, and so surprised that it's just disappeared altogether. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Daryl. See you next week, mate. Thanks for coming on board, as always. Mr. Lyle Roberts, thank you for coming on board, sir. JK, as always, thanks for backing me up, asking the hard questions and seeing where we're at with stuff. I've really got to work on this lighting. I just haven't Googled it too hard yet. Pete Donaldson, thank you for coming on board. Steve Klink, thanks for coming on board. Oh, I'll have to come up with... Well, how about you choose the beer of the week for week 104, 2 years of good chats with the beer of the week brought to you by Steve Klink. Luke's Fishing, Northern Territory, thank you for coming on board. If any of you guys or gals have the capacity to jump on board from a mobile, you just have to jump on board to a website, and you know a little bit about, muting things and setting things up. Happy to work through it as well. If you contact me on Outdoors Time on Facebook, we can work through things on when we've got more time off for the chat. Come hither with Heather. Hello, thank you for coming on board. I hope you're home safe now. Zamago, thank you for coming on board again. Rebro, thanks for coming on board. Kingsley, bringing up the WA contingent, thank you for coming on board. Who else have we have on board tonight? Let's have a look here. O'Malley popped up there. History Hunter Dan Under, sorry, thank you for coming on board. Dork Boy and Harvey. Looks like we've got some interesting new people on board as well, who hopefully we can learn a lot more from you than I will bring to the chat, I guess. But that's what we do it for. This is Good Chats. We do it every Wednesday night at 8:15. We are a bunch of people who are interested in railway history, learning more about YouTube, and just generally authentic kind of exploring without all the green screen crap. So here's to another good week to you all, and hopefully next week I will work out how to automate the bloody microphone and the lighting. Peace until then. Cheers.